may be the mechanism by which the modern state arrives at its glory. The regulatory state, with its hundreds of offices, its thousands of laws, its tens of thousands, theoretically, of regulations, which are policies that are written in-house in each executive agency that has a statute to enforce. These agencies, of course, serve the governor. If it's in the state government, they serve the mayor. If they are in city government, they serve the county mayor. If they are in the county, or the president, if they are national three-lettered or four-lettered acronym agencies, like the ABC agency that does this or that. And the origins, the pressure for these organizations to work to reduce risk, to make sure that we're safe, come from the insurance industry. The insurance industry had its big gains against the free market in the 1880s, when there were hundreds, if not thousands, of societies all around the United States that were mutual aid connected. They were organizations often centering on particular guilds or trades that let widows, for example, have an income after the death of their husbands, or paid for a man to be disabled if he were injured on the job. There were many organizations of that kind that were private, that were associations, that were societies, if you will. They were organized as societies for a limited and grand charitable purpose. The people who received the benefits were those who put money in every month, if they could, or every other month, depending on the billing cycle in that day. And they had security for themselves and their children if there was a damage or a problem that prevented a routine accession of cash flow, right? Your cash flow in your household is blocked because of an illness or an injury, or some act of God that prevents the suffering from being avoided. And here you are in the lurch, and you have the care of the people who are giving money to you indirectly through the administration. Insurance rose for profit against these nonprofit associations in the late 1800s, in the progressive era, when debt capitalism and capitalism got their bearings, if you will, and required major changes in the economy, and also invited major changes on the part of the state, which, of course, these changes were always prone to aggregate power and authority and service and benefits, right? in the civil magistrate, the civil authority, whether it be state or local or county or national. And what we are living in the decline, in the senescence period, the period of forgetfulness, of senility, if you will, of Alzheimer's, perhaps, of the modern state. It is in a long-term decline, and that decline, though, we don't really know. It's hard to see it often because the headlines, for example, a story in TV3 this morning about tougher penalties for uninsured drivers by a young reporter, Kate Smith, who failed to tell us in her story the mechanism by which a new surveillance will be taking place on the part of the Tennessee Highway Patrol and perhaps other so-called law enforcement military organizations across the state who are sweeping the traffic. In fact, they're sweeping the traffic to stop people. Where does this mentality come from? It comes from insurance. And here we have now in Washington the story about the Republicans gaining ascendancy. The Republicans who brought us to this disaster, in league with the Democrats, they are a kind of duopoly. Republicans coming to power in the presidency in the name and face of Donald Trump, a great businessman, and then also in the houses of the federal Congress, hoping maybe to overturn Obamacare. Obamacare is a mistake in many ways. It's a mistake in scale. Here we are, a country of 320 million people. Why do we not have 10,000 solutions for insurance? Why not 15,000 or maybe just 1,000. How about 1,000? Let's settle for, let's think small here, okay? Let's think small for 1,000 solutions for insurance, which is the care for people, the payout of people who are damaged in some way or ill. Health insurance, you have automobile insurance, and both of these forms of guarantee are in view here at the beginning of the new year at the David Tulis program. And I am David Tulis. I do thank you for tuning in. We are live on Facebook, and that's on the Nooga Radio channel. And you can see what kind of getup I have today. Jeanette, my wife, let me out of the house without raising her lids in her farewell kiss to me. I came in thinking she was already awake, but there she was sleeping with her eye patches on, and she did not see what costume I left, what radio costume I left the house. My red tie or my green hunting shirt. This might amaze your wife. I know you don't care, my listener. You don't care a whit about what the host is wearing, whether it's sensible shoes or strikingly pink and purple sneakers. You care not. Your wife might care, but we don't worry about women folk here on this show. We care about the men. Well, okay, you want to know why? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason I care about the man listener is because, unlike you, most men have become testosteronal. They do not have manliness anymore. They have yielded consistently over the generations. They have abdicated. The abdication of his brother brought King George to the throne. If you were watching The Crown on British public television, George came to the throne because his brother, the ne'er-do-well who married the Wallace Simpson, the adulterous American woman with whom he had a fling, and he abdicated. Well, abdication was taught. That generation needed lessons in abdication, and they got it from that king who wanted to marry his American. He wanted to be guided by love, right? And so he abdicated his authority and dispensed with all the regalia and the power of kingship. Abdication is what men have done. And my program here at this wonderful radio station, my host and my platform, sponsored by Nooganomics, right? Nooganomics.com. It is about getting men to be manly, and it's not saying yes. That monarch said no to the throne and yes to love, right? I think in a lot of ways we should reverse things. We should say yes to duty and no to love, perhaps, right? We should say no to personal pleasures and comforts brought to us by the embraces of a woman, brought to us by the latest fishing boat that we are going into having a mortgage on, so that we can have our pleasures on the lake, right, at Chickamauga Dam, fishing there in the shadows of Wilkes T. Thrasher Bridge. We as men have abdicated seriously and strongly. And the insurance industry has led us, and the insurance industry, with its uniform law commissions and other groups, have brought a uniformity to the nation. A country of 320 million people has to have one insurance policy. Why does that not strike you as a little, maybe just slightly wacky? Maybe since you are a man of reason, perhaps unworkable. There are solutions to many things, and they are in the future. They're not to be found in the past. They are to the future, and that is to what we look here at the David Tulis program. We look to the future, and of course we look in my case back to the scriptures, the Holy Scriptures, where God declares Himself and His character, and He declares what character we should have and what faults we should hate and what faults we should avoid. He does that. He does that through written revelation, through you might say a constitution, and that was what the Bible is. It's got 66 books. You might say 66 chapters, and we look back from that, and with that in mind, with, you might say, for shorthand, the law of God in mind, a commoner like me, David Tulis, your host, with his hunting shirt. Actually, the shirt I'm wearing is I'm not a hunter so much. It's a working man's shirt. I am the common man, just like you, right? We are at the bottom 20% of the inverted economic pyramid, where you and I share among the 15% of liquid assets, where the good people hold the majority, and the top 1% holds 40% of the national bodily wealth, if you will. And you and I, my listener, down here at the bottom. The future we look to, and we stand on the basis of hopefully godly wisdom and godly undertakings, encouraging the same. And so you, my listener, are the man. You're the man, and that's why I don't care about women. Okay, I really don't. And if you're a woman listening in, well, you can peruse what we have to say, but what you're hearing from me is what your husband needs to be hearing. Okay, let's just put it that way. So if you just leave me be now, I'll let you go, and we'll talk to my guy listener. So you, my man listener, what we're trying to do is to encourage a testosteronal, and if the listener has any interest in the scriptures, a godly argument and a godly progress. Now, there are things to look forward to in the future. If you want to look about the new year, you can look at my little presentation on Facebook. We are on Facebook Live at the Nooga radio station, on YouTube as live as an electrical, a naked electrical wire on the floor there. Watch your step. Solutions abound. They look forward and they don't look backward. And what they require is a bit of experimentation on your part. You have to try something different. Try, for example, Cash Friday. Cash Friday is my little effort to get a little bit more green rectangle circulating in local economy. The green rectangle, the dollar bill, the $50 bill, the $100 bill, the giant 100. Have you ever handled a $100 bill? You may be one of those men who needs to experiment. If everything is done by plastic in your life and you have a mortgage on your sandwich, right? Think about the dynamism that can come to your viscera if you pay with $100 bill and the eyes of the clerk get big because she hasn't seen them either. You're paying with the $100 bill. Actually, the payload, right? Delivering the payload of the payment and not requiring that local shop, that local hamburger joint, right? The Armando's, right? Or what have you. Amigos, right? You're not expecting the folks at Amigos of Hickson to process the tapeworm tax. That is the credit card tax. Experimentation is something that you should be doing, thinking ahead. And I'm here, David Tulis, to provide you with some of the means and some of the ideas that are part of your experimentation. What about innovation? Well, that's the same thing. Trying something new, something different in your life. Maybe spending some time with your wife. Maybe thinking about fooling around and having more children. Have you ever thought about that? That's the fact that we only don't have enough children to replace ourselves means that we have to rely on immigration from Syria. We have to rely on immigration from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and point south, Colombia, and point south, because we don't have the hope. We just don't have any hope anymore. Black people, white people, and the Anglos, those people who are subjected to the Anglo establishment in the East, harassed left and right, they've lost hope. Maybe you are among them. And if so, our goal here at the David Tulis program is to encourage your innovation. These are not innovations necessarily to me. I do things differently from most people anyway. And yesterday, my wife, Jeanette, insisted that I'm a crank. She insisted that I'm a crank. And I said, Jeanette, how can anyone think I'm a crank? They don't understand. I think about things and work on things that no one understands. How can that be called cranky? Well, for example, like one of my projects is the problem in Tennessee courts that I'm looking at. I'm trying to read some court cases, trying to establish whether or not there's legal authority for Saudi Daisy, for example, Red Bank, to run a police department. You think that there's no question on these points, but there is. And David Tulis, his mind boosted by supplements from Nature's Finest over on Lee Highway. He is linking down, lurking down into the details, into the substructure, the space between the tectonic plates of the legal world around you. The future also holds much for decentralization, for community and new models that optimize, that see much of decentralization, the distributed economy. Among the mayoral candidates, the only one who has an inkling about what that's about is Dave Crockett. I'm not saying, hey, vote for Dave Crockett, but I'm just saying that there are some people who are, you might say, the advanced model, and they to the future. And the central system has lost control of the narrative, right? That's why we have this flourishing of stories about fake news. Centralized control of the narrative is lost. And there's a great story at Zero Hedge. I just wanted to mention how the Reformation, where the scriptures were rediscovered by Martin Luther and some of his predecessors, Staupitz, even the Catholic heresiarch who kind of sided with the Reformation, and others. They discovered ways around the cartel, the monolith, which was the Roman Catholic Church, that had come to oppress God's people and to keep them in the bitterest ignorance, making them subject to fantasies such as the idea that you can buy an indulgence, you can buy remission of sin. But we here in our program, we're trying to see how strong the template is for our thinking, really set in World War II, and that is that every problem requires a centralized solution. That's where we live, and Republicans and Democrats are all about that, right? Your independent parties are not. The Constitution Party is an exception. The Libertarian Party has many of the right answers as well. But the answer has always been to centralize power, to use power, right? Not to envision market solutions, decentralized or distributed solutions. That's the key word, distributed solutions. And if you are in the computer field, you know that's nothing new to you. But think about applying that concept of distributed systems to things such as insurance. Now, I'm a member in the insurance sector of Samaritan Ministries, and I have a note that came a couple days ago about my account. What happened is my wife Jeanette broke her fingers in a bike accident in the Netherlands, and she came back, had very serious surgery on 2 fingers that were broken right at the joint, and at the joint with the hand. And she's had therapy also, and altogether we have a bill of $11,798, all out of pocket. Okay, that's out of pocket expense. And I'm not part of insurance. I'm not part of Obamacare. I'm not even part of insurance. When I left the Chattanooga Time-Free Press as an employee about 4 or 5 years ago, I was so glad I could finally be free of Blue Cross Blue Shield, and have a much more personal approach. In this scheme that's exempted in Obamacare, religious organizations such as Samaritan Ministries can have members pay each other their medical expenses. So the notice in the mail that you saw on YouTube there, the notice is telling me that, hey, in a few days, you'll be getting a trickle of checks, $480 checks from families all around the country. And they're going to be paying me 100% compensation for our expenses. And if for some reason I have bills due, well, I'll pay them immediately when I get those checks. In my case, I've been able to pay those bills in cash, so no service provider is being stiffed by this cash patient, right? The man who says he's a cash patient and then doesn't pay for 2 or 3 or 4 months. That's not me. I paid immediately, and up front got the cash discount. In one case, in the hospital, it was a 50% discount. I pressed for cash discounts with other providers. Could not succeed. Some like the Hayes Hand Center offer no cash discount. So the cash price is the same as the otherworldly high price at that business for insurance. There should always be a cash discount. So what's happening here is that Christian people are going to pray for my wife and for me as she recovers, gaining back the use of her hand. When she writes her name, let's say on a document, her hand, she holds her hand a very strange way. Sorry, she has not gotten her function back, but we will get back the bruise in the purse, if you will, the bruise in the billfold at 100%. We choose our doctors. We have no deductible, and we get paid 100%. If you're in insurance, that's an amazing story. How can that be? Well, I'll tell you what. Find out more at SamaritanMinistries.org. That's SamaritanMinistries.org. It's for Christians. If you're not a practicing Christian, you can't take part in that. But certainly, as we propose other solutions, we can have in Chattanooga let us have in Chattanooga a self-pay organization based on the Samaritan Ministries line, where people, let's say in one part of town, guarantee each other and think they can even get to know each other. Here in this group, it's national, so it's not really local economy, but it's a local economy principle that could be established here. What about you? If you're my listener, I think this is a great idea, and you're a businessman, why don't you start one for, let's say, people in Hickson, the Hickson Mutual Aid Society. That would be geocentric, it would be lococentric, it would be, dare I say, Noogacentric. And that is my argument here at David Tulis Program. We are Noogacentric, and I'm the Noogacentrist in chief of Chattanooga, the local economy guru, the David Tulis Show, sponsored by the great website, Nooganomics.com. That's Nooganomics.com, Nooganomics.com, Nooganomics.com. Go there and be impressed. This is David.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. McCune, Williams & Ashley PLLC offers a full array of legal services to meet the needs of businesses and individuals. Our attorneys represent diverse backgrounds, interests, and legal emphasis, but we share one common goal, providing the highest quality legal services to our clients through the combination of our talents, experience, and expertise. In each case, we strive to tailor those services to meet each client's specific circumstances. Business law, business organization, civil litigation, commercial litigation, conservatorship and guardian law, bankruptcy law, just to name a few. With over 188 years of combined experience, McCune, Williams, Ashley PLLC is here to help you and your business succeed. MWALawfirm.com. That's MWALawfirm.com. Call 423-756-6400. That's 423-756-6400.
The NASCAR racer's ideal is quality and excellence. So is mine. Hi, David Tulis here. My pit crew is S&S Auto Repair. I've taken Toyotas and Hondas to S&S for 13 years, even though it's way out of my way. I like being treated fairly, like a neighbor. S&S specializes in Toyota and Lexus, Honda, Acura, Scion, Nissan, and Infiniti. Make an appointment today and get a free 4-inch combat knife as a gift. 855-3436. ssautorepair.net. 855-3436.
Is your career careening, maybe sagging, wheezing? Let me suggest a job with huge income potential. Dealing with people. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. 855-8484. 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you make all year.
Are you shovel ready to build a house, but you're not a builder? Are you shovel ready? Michael's Homes is ready to bulldoze its way to a solution for you. You have ideas on what you want in a house, but you're looking for someone to bring your ideas into a plan and turn your plan into a house. Michael's Homes, custom builder. Michael's Homes has lots available at a new subdivision. River Bay Estates, that's Harrison. Maybe River Watch in Saudi Daisy. Choices galore, lots, houses, beautiful homes all over Chattanooga. The Canyons, Hickson. Crystal Brook, Appleton. Drive in, take a look, consult with us. We build on your lot or ours. Homes-Chattanooga.com.
Call 423-413-9929. There's a reason why Alliance Physical Therapy is a choice of professionals and those who care about first-class, top-notch service and treatment. Because at Alliance Physical Therapy of Chattanooga, we don't just treat the symptoms in your body. Whether you're suffering from stiffness, muscle spasms, back pain, chronic headaches every day, stress of life demanding more and more of you, Alliance Physical Therapy takes a holistic approach to healing, mind, body, and soul. Alliance Physical Therapy with a location near you and 9 others in the Chattanooga area. If you don't have a doctor or if your physician's plan for chronic pain is not working, Alliance Physical Therapy will help. Visit Alliance Physical Therapy on the web at nopainpt.com. That's nopainpt.com. Alliance Physical Therapy.
We're at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Yes, ma'am. 2 orders of nachos with beef and beans and 2 beers. Chattanooga loves its Amigos restaurants, but the Amigos in Hickson has something extra. NCAA, the week's big game. How about a house wine? Really good. Big name beers. Just tell Maria what you want. And here at Amigos, margaritas are popular. And it's only $3 a day. If you come here on a game day, Saturday, a Natty Light is only $2.25. Here at Amigos, just during NCAA, Natty Light, $2.25. Amigos Mexican Restaurant in Hickson. The happy hour is 3 to 9 today and every day. I'd say the atmosphere is festive. Look at that huge TV. It's like being amid the fans under a bright sun, but without all the heat. Stay cool. Quench your thirst. Amigos, between the Staples and Hobby Lobby. Take the table next to mine and enjoy the great NCAA game with friend or family here at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Okay, shh, it started.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. AM 1240 Nooga Radio, Russell Stroud reporting. A suspect has been named after shooting on Cummings Highway. Joshua Eaker, who's 28, now being looked after by police. Police say their investigation indicates that the shooting happened over a dispute between Eaker, the victim, who's not been named, and a girlfriend. 28-year-old Joshua Taylor Eaker is still being sought after by police. If you know where he is, call them. After a long manhunt, one suspect has turned himself in after a robbery in Fort Oglethorpe. The other suspect, Peyton Gunter, still believed to be armed and dangerous, possibly driving a black Infiniti coupe. The search for Mr. Gunter continues. We've gotten word that a Chattanooga police officer who's accused of domestic assault has turned himself in to the Signal Mountain Police after a warrant was issued by them for domestic assault. Officer Charles Brock is now on administrative leave from the Chattanooga Police Department pending the investigation from Signal Mountain. Chattanooga Police noted the professionalism of the Signal Mountain PD. If it's going on in Tennessee Valley, it's going on Nooga Radio.
Expect a breezy and wet start to your Tuesday. Some areas of fog, especially into the mountains, along with some drizzle. Otherwise, a milder afternoon. Not as wet. High 65 to 67 tonight. Not as mild. Overnight lows near 45. Drier, breezy, and cooler Wednesday. Getting colder Thursday. Looking for your dream home? McBriar Realty can help. With decades of experience, they get big-time results with small-town values. Licensed for the tri-state area, check McBriarRealty.com for their complete listings. And I'm Swarm Machine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is David Tulis, and we are glad that you're giving us a couple of minutes of your time here at the David Tulis program. We have an unusual problem we're going to look at next. It is an exemption or exception to the Tennessee Open Records statute, which is in section the Tennessee Code annotated 10-7-504. There are pages and pages of exceptions. If you do a cut and paste on the Tennessee Code at that point, and put it into your let's say a Google Doc at 10-point type, it turns out to be about 24 pages of type. And we are going to ask a county commissioner from a county just south of Knoxville. That's Blount County, a commissioner there who was surprised by this addition. Adding a few lines to that massive exceptions to the open records law, found to her surprise that she could not get information that she believes would have been essential to help her in an important decision, an expenditure of taxpayer money. The commissioner is Tona Monroe, again in Blount County, just south of Knoxville. Tona, what happened? How did you find out about this law, and what was the problem this amendment to the law caused you?
Well, we've been told for a long time that the Blount County Jail is overcrowded, and it technically is, but it's a manufactured crisis because we're housing discretionary inmates, we're housing state inmates and federal inmates that we are not required to house. And so there's been a push for a long time to expand our jail. And we failed our jail inspections. The state inspects the jail annually, and we've been failing inspections since 2012 because we're overcrowded and not able to meet all of the standards. But the certification process is voluntary, and the Tennessee Corrections Institute, which inspects your jail, will not shut your jail down if you are not certified. But the commissioners are often not told that. They think that if you're decertified, cataclysm is going to occur, and it's not. You know, there's plenty of jails in Tennessee that aren't certified. There are counties that never get certified and don't even aspire to be certified. Now, standards are good. I want our jail to be certified, but after looking into the process, I realized the state has really cheapened the process of certification and hands it out what I believe to be for political reasons. And so we had the TCI come in and talk tough and act like that if we didn't look at architectural services for expanding our jail, we weren't going to be certified again. So a RFQ was issued to look at, and RFQ means request for qualifications, so that your listeners know. In Tennessee, if you are requesting professional services such as architectural services, legal services, etc., it doesn't have to go through a competitive sealed bid process, meaning that you, the taxpayers, don't have to be given the best deal for your money. In theory, these services are supposed to be, there's the thought that the cheapest service isn't necessarily always the best, and so you have people look at these services and they select the company that's the best fit for whatever it is you're trying to do. And so, I have been following this jail situation for a long time. We were told we had to keep state inmates. Turns out that's not what state law says, and I publicly stated that. And then right after I stated that, an AG's opinion came out saying exactly the same thing, that we don't have to keep state sentenced felons. Then I began to question whether the sheriff had the authority to sign a contract to house federal inmates. He did that unilaterally without commission approval, which has contributed to our overcrowding. And I finally got the comptroller's office to put in writing that they were not aware of any statute that allowed the sheriff to sign a contract without commission approval. And then I found through reading TCI minutes that the mayor and the sheriff had got together and were secretly planning to set aside $2 million to expand the jail. And so I have been looking at this process for quite a while. And the whole process from start to finish has not been what we've been told. We've been lied to, misled. And so to go and expand a jail, which could cost millions upon millions of dollars based on misinformation, I've been doing my homework. So this RFQ was issued for the purpose of expanding, looking at design services to expand the jail. And it was issued, the deadline for submissions was back in July, and they've been dragging their feet at putting together a screening team. Sometimes they call it an evaluation team. I think those terms are synonymous. To evaluate the 7 proposals that we received. We were told that there were 7 companies, and we were given the 7 names. But I cannot get those proposals. And when I asked for the names of the team members, the purchasing agent wouldn't even tell me the names of the team members.
Isn't the purchasing agent?
She wouldn't tell me why.
So
I did an open records request and said, I want a copy of all of your communications with these team members, because in the past, I could have gotten those records and figured out who was on the team, and I wanted to go to these meetings to see how they determine which company to go with. And she didn't respond to my open records request initially. I had to forward it to the Office of Open Records Counsel, and after I did that, she finally responded, and she denied it and said the records were confidential.
Is this a county worker, Tona Monroe? Is that a county worker?
This is the county. Yes, she's the county's purchasing agent.
Okay, so you're a Blount County commissioner. People don't realize that those purchasing agents have a lot of authority. Okay, you're a county commissioner.
She actually told me, and as bizarre as this sounds, that she could paint the courthouse pink if she wanted to under the purchasing laws.
May I ask you a question,
and so,
Tona? Let me ask you a question. Just back up here. Back up just for a second. So you're a county commissioner in Blount County, and the purchasing agent is able to keep secret from you. You're a political authority, you're elected to office, able to keep secret from you the information about the other petitioners for this contract and their qualifications. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, up until she decides to enter into contract negotiations with one company. They remain sealed up until that point. She does not, under the law, even have to tell me the team members. And it did not used to be this way. That was changed last March. This was a new exemption. The state legislature really rammed through a lot of exemptions last year. I don't think people were paying real close attention. I sat down and went back through my records last night. I get a Tennessee County Services Association update newsletter every week or every 2 weeks while the legislature's in session. I had 6 printed copies And I went through there. They're supposed to keep us informed of legislation impacting county government. And so I went through all 6 newsletters last night. I can't find that they ever told us about this law. And I spoke to Deborah Fisher with the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government, and she said that the law went through with very little discussion. And I asked her, were there any specific examples cited as to why these documents should be sealed? And she said no. So this was something that county officials were not made aware of, and it slipped through. You know, it was at a time when there was Trump mania. We were busy voting in a presidential primary. The news media was busy reporting on everything Jeremy Durham was up to, and yet we have something major like this that affects the day-to-day operations of local government across the state. And, you know, it goes through without county commissioners being aware of it, without the public being aware of it, and it has a huge impact. And let me give you a good example of why some of these need scrutiny. There was an RFP put out in 2015 for the sheriff to hire a private company to negotiate his federal per diem rates to house these federal inmates. And there was only 2 proposals sent back, and the high bidder was $65,000. The low bidder was $18,500. They went with the high bidder. Now, he managed to set it up to where they didn't have to come to the county commission for an additional $65,000. They moved money out of one of the sheriff's salary line items. The mayor signed off on it. So we never saw this paperwork. They didn't come till many months later. They sprang on the scenes and asked for a budget increase request to put the money back in that salary line item. And they won't provide us with that RFP paperwork. They just sprung on the scene and said, well, we got a per diem rate increase, and so we're going to use those funds to pay to put this money back in the salary line item. But they moved the money without ever telling the commission. They took it out of the salary, so they just shuffled money.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Tona Moore of Blount County. Tona Moore is a Blount County commissioner, and she's explaining the effect of a new statute and exception to the open records request that lets serviced requests, proposals, and requests for qualification, solicitation, and related records proposals be kept secret. Now, Tona, let me ask you. Let's just back up a little bit. Back to the jail question. The purchasing agent said, "We're not going to show you, the county commissioner, any of those that have come to us for a proposed contract for a jail construction project. I'm going to make a decision on whose proposal you're going to get to weigh." Is that because the purchasing agent is a member of the executive branch in county government in your county, or is that part of the legislative branch?
She's part of the bureaucracy.
That means executive.
She is chosen by the mayor, and then the county commission votes to confirm her. I actually voted against confirming her because she had very little relevant purchasing experience. She's actually an attorney, which is kind of alarming. About a year and a half ago, the mayor came to the commission and demoted the then purchasing agent to assistant purchasing agent and brought this attorney.
Well, you know why that is, don't you? And so I ask the director of general services, who is very involved in watching the purchasing agent and involved in the purchasing process as well, why they were demoting the then purchasing agent. And he told me, and I was shocked that he told me this, because I figured I'm the last person on the planet he would tell this, but he actually said to me, "I think that some of our purchasing procedures are not complying with state law." So I have every reason in the world to want to know what is going on here. And, I have reported some things to the comptroller's office. I hope they're looking into it. But, when you report things to the comptroller's office, it typically goes into a black hole, and you do not know what the outcome of their investigation Tona Moore,
is.
let's focus, Tona.
So,
Let's focus on what this statute means for the listener. The listener is here in Campbell County. You're in Blount County, but what you're telling us is something that is taking place here as well. We just happen to get this news from you. So the effect of this law, this new exception to the open records requirement, government is supposed to be open and susceptible to open records requests from, say, the listener who wants to find out what's going on. The exceptions say no. They're about 25 pages or so at 10-point type of these exceptions, and this is another one. What does it mean for the listener? That means that the listener's representative, which would be members of the Hamilton County Commission here, will be unable to find out favor seekers, bidders, would-be contractors who come before the county and are dealt with by the purchasing agent of, let's say, Hamilton County, or in your case, Blount County. And that's a secrecy you think that's unjust, because that prevents you from making an informed decision. Is that the problem, partly? And if that's not all,
yes,
what else is there?
Well, it allows the purchasing agent to put together a team to evaluate these proposals. And when they evaluate them in total secrecy. You're not even allowed to know who they are until it's a done deal. You can eventually learn who they are when they come through the.
It seems like we may have lost our guest there. We've been talking with Tona Monroe. This is David Tulis. She's telling us that. Are you there, Tona? We are having a little bit of problem, but the difficulty is that that the elected official can't have discretion on whose numbers to look at and who the parties are making a petition for a bid, who are making either presenting qualifications to be able to handle a bid, to be able to handle a request for proposals. So there are RFPs, which are requests for proposals that for-profit businesses give and enter to governments, and there are also requests for qualifications. Those are called RFQs, and RFQ lets the RFQ lets a body and we are. My name is David Tulis. I'm glad you're giving us a couple of minutes of your time. The question is about amendment to the law. The open records requests for proposals and requests for qualifications are kept secret. The executive branches of government, say purchasing agents, are allowed to have dealings and make a selection of a bidder, and the people who vote on the bid don't have any insight as to who came, what the other options were, who the parties were. Are they parties in California? Are they local parties? Are there parties that have a good success record? They can't do any of their own research. They're given a name. They're given a proposal for a bill or for a bid of some kind, and then they go from there. It seems to me that that's not favoring you, my listener. That statute affects goings on here in Chattanooga, goings on in Hamilton County as well. Now we are the station here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio and FM 101.1, and we are glad you are able to give us a couple of minutes of your time. And again, this is David Tulis. We're glad that you're giving us a few minutes of your time. We're the station that explores local economy and the free market. I'm the editor of the website for The Man Who Matters. And no, it is not a popular website. And that is because I think in the end, very few people really matter. There are so many mushy middle kind of people who are persuaded by this, persuaded by that. They follow what's popular. They follow what's new and current. But they are not. They're not ones who really think deeply, or who need to think deeply about things that are of import. And we have Tona Monroe on the line. Tona, so what were you saying? We have about a minute left. What were you saying about the effect of this revised statute on my listener?
Well, what it does is it creates a secret evaluation team to evaluate all of these professional services, which is not good, open, transparent government. People often selected to evaluate these proposals are political appointments, not usually subject matter experts. And so when there are agendas like there is in Blount County, they're going to pick people who precisely give them what they want. We had something a couple of months ago where we were presented with a IT firm, and I asked the purchasing agent about the IT qualifications of one of the members, and she told me she didn't know what IT experience this person had. So people are being put on these committees that are not subject matter experts. They're political appointments. And so this process has now been shut off, and these expensive proposals are presented to the county commission with little time to really truly evaluate what they're being presented with. It's a recipe for disaster.
And so your protocol, Tona Monroe of Blount County, is just to vote no if you're not sure. Is that your recourse?
Yes, I frequently do that. Absolutely.
And
yes.
how many members are on the commission?
Can see that on my website, bcpublicrecord.com. I frequently vote no.
Okay, so what is the name of your website again, Tona?
bcpublicrecord.com.
E for Blount County.
Yes, Blount County, bcpublicrecord.com.
EastBCPublicRecord.com, and that's your website. And the listener needs to know that I have had some contact with Tona Moore. I initially talked with you about the whole question about driving versus traveling. Tona Moore, again, thanks for joining us here on the program, Tona.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are hearing about an amendment to the Tennessee law that allows for secret committees that are in the executive branch of, let's say, a county government or a city government, and that branch's dealings with contractors and qualifications for contractors or sellers or vendors can be kept secret even from the voting party. That would be the council, the city council or the county commission, where the elected officials, your representative, votes. What happens is these purchasing committees that are over in the executive branch in Blount County, or even perhaps here in Hamilton County, they make these decisions, and as a fait accompli, as a all-decided package, the proposal is given to the voting body for an up or down vote. It doesn't seem to be very encouraging of open government at all. This is David Tulis, and I'm glad you're giving me a couple of minutes of your time. We're here every day from 9 to 11, and I sure appreciate your telling a friend about me. The name is David Tulis. David Tulis, the mild-mannered editor, former newspaper copy editor, and journalist with the bow tie. What does bow tie say today? This is David Tulis.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Choose Exit Realty Scenic City. Need to sell your house? Want to buy another house? Choose Exit Realty Scenic City. Our goals are simple. If you're selling, we get you the best price possible in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Our agents are professional, competent, and courteous. We stay in touch every step of the way. If you're buying, we make sure you get all the information necessary to choose the right house in the right location at the best price. Exit Realty is one of the fastest growing real estate companies in North America. Our agents have extensive training, state-of-the-art technology, and full support that allows us to do the best job possible for you. If you're in the market to buy or sell, call us today, 423-551-EXIT. That's 423-551-3948. If you're an agent or considering a career in real estate, call us today. See what Exit Realty can do for you. No desk fees, residual income, technology to the max, and people first. Call us today, 551-EXIT. That's 551-3948. We're located at 7610 Hamilton Park Drive, just off the Bonnie Oaks exit.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis has the cash when you sell gold, silver, diamonds, rings, and jewelry. Sell Rick your precious metals today and lock in your price. Hey, Rick Davis will trade your cash for shiny, brilliant, and heavy gold. Gold cheaper now by $100 an ounce. Join the Rick Davis Silver Bonanza too. Prices so low, the Lone Ranger is bound to gallop in, Kimosabe.
Hey-ho, silver, away!
The markets are changing, so buy now. Cash, 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 and more cash for your silver and gold, gold, gold. Rick Davis, 5301 Brainerd Road. That's 5301 Brainerd Road. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Oh, and cash, cash, cash. You know where it is.
Hey-ho, silver, away!
Step aside, sir. I'm searching your trunk.
Is that all serious? That doesn't even cover anything.
We trusted you. We gave you all that authority, all that discretion, and you do this to our little company? Don't you think that's wrong? That's called embezzlement.
I didn't mean to do it. It didn't go right. I shot him. There he was. And then it just happened.
My son, only 18, facing drug charges. Oh no.
We got one of those mortgage fraud creeps. Go!
Attorney Clay Whitaker, 756-6400, 756-6400. Free consultation in criminal cases. He'll get justice for you. 756-6400, 756-6400. Clay Whitaker.
What? Oh no, I can't believe my phone screen is cracked. I cracked it. I can't believe my screen is cracked. I need my phone.
Whoa. Slow down, wild man. We've got an easy solution. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Your cell phone repair doctor is on the job. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Check out our brand new location. Just off I-75, Old Lee Highway next to Zaxby's. That's right, your cell doctor in Ottawa, Cell Surgeon, most of the time can fix your smartphone on the spot. Your cell phone repair doctor is on the job. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Check out our brand new location. Just off I-75, Old Lee Highway next to Zaxby's. Cell Surgeon for all your cell needs. Most repairs are performed in less than an hour. TheCellSurgeon.com. Go to TheCellSurgeon.com.
Daisy, get my cell phone out of your mouth right now.
How about we change that to Built in the USA? For over 21 years, Affordable Computers has been building computers right here in the good old USA, in Chattanooga, using the highest quality parts and components in every new computer they build. Tell us the exact system you need, we'll build it to your specifications. Or you can choose from a wide selection of our PCs and laptops, starting at under $200. All Affordable Computers are upgradable, guaranteed. Affordable Computers services their computers in store, typically within 1 to 3 days. And when you call, they answer the phone. You get support within minutes that you can understand. Affordable Computers of Chattanooga. And service and support extends for the life of the computer, not just for the warranty of the PC. So there's no reason to shop anywhere else. Call Affordable Computers now on Highway 58 Chattanooga, 423-499-1975. That's 423-499-1975.
Or visit our Fort O store, 706-858-5888.
Here's what advertisers are saying about AM 1240. HotNewsTalkRadio.com.
Radio station, they really care. They're always calling me probably once a week, checking on me, seeing how things going, see if they want to change any of the ads or do anything different, seeing what my needs are. I've gotten business off the ads that you do for me, and seems to be working well at this point.
Prices were very fair. Areas in this town that we aren't able to get other ways, your radio station is able to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
We've been very pleased with the services we've got. It seems like everybody over there cares about what they're going to do, how it's going to work for us on this end. And we've been very impressed with the creativity of the ads that we've heard. And they always seem to be right on point, even without us having to come up with what's going to be said.
I've been doing business with News Talk Radio for quite some time. It's the best place and the best value you can get for your advertisement. The commercials are great. They're very professional. I was actually blown away.
The commercial that they put together was awesome. It was way far above all the other radio stations we've had.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy,
Chattanooga. CBS News, I'm Jim Taylor. The 115th Congress opens today. A lot could happen.
It's time to get to work, and it's time to keep our word to the American people.
That's VP-elect Mike Pence. Republican lawmakers not waiting till today's opening of the new session to take partisan action on Capitol Hill. CBS News correspondent Steve Dorsey.
Behind closed doors, House Republicans voted to strip the Congressional Watchdog Office of its power and independence, defying their own leaders. Democrats and advocacy groups also criticizing the move. Judicial Watch's Tom Fitton.
It's a strange way to begin a new Congress and a new administration that talked about draining the swamp.
The ethics change is part of a proposed rules package that punishes lawmakers if there's another Democratic sit-in over gun control. The future of Obamacare is also on the line as the Senate prepares for confirmation hearings. Steve Dorsey, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is in southern Alabama, where 4 people are dead, killed by falling trees crushing the mobile home they were in.
We are seeing very large trees, some that are maybe 30, 40 feet, just snapped in half and pushed onto the ground on the roads. There's a lot of emergency vehicles that are basically having to block roads. There's also a lot of down power lines.
Yeah, 80,000 customers without power in Alabama, Texas, Louisiana. Another storm-related death in the Florida Panhandle, the severe weather moving east in the form of strong thunderstorms. Developments in the search for the Istanbul killer, the terrorist who rained death on a crowded nightclub. Here's CBS's Vicky Barker.
A Turkish broadcaster is reporting 2 foreign nationals have been detained at Istanbul's main airport in connection with the New Year's Day attack. And Turkish media have published a video selfie of the man police reportedly believe carried it out. In it, a dark-haired young man with chiseled features stares grimly into the camera as he walks among the locals and tourists in Istanbul's Taksim Square. Ever so briefly, the shadow of a smile or a smirk crosses his face. Not clear when the video was shot. Vicky Barker, CBS News.
You've just landed after a long trip returning to the U.S. What's it like to wait a few extra hours because Customs has a systems failure?
People were okay. I felt bad for people with kids. You know, that's tough. But most of us held up all right. I had a few snacks in my bag that helped.
Long re-entry lines last night at airports across the country. Overheard on Washington Dulles Airport traffic radio.
There's no injuries. He's refusing us checking him out.
The baggage handler who took an unscheduled ride in the cargo hold of a United airliner flying from Charlotte, North Carolina to Washington Dulles, he is okay. North American marijuana sales growing by an unprecedented 30% in 2016, $6.7 billion. Legal market expanding in the U.S. and Canada. According to a new report by ArcView Market Research, North America sales projected to top $20 billion by 2021. Wall Street starts the new year with a bang. The Dow up 127. This is CBS News.
And I'm Jerry Rice saying so long from San Francisco.
Thank goodness. Oh, these overtime games are just killing my back.
You should try the patch.
The patch?
The Tiger Balm patch. It's a blend of essential oils that goes deep into aching muscles and joints for fast, soothing pain relief. I go for Tiger Balm after every game.
What every armchair quarterback needs, proven pain relief.
And a good wide receiver.
You don't know any, do you?
Roar back from pain with Tiger Balm. It works where it hurts.
Getting a great night's sleep is easier and more affordable than you might think. You don't need a new expensive mattress or sleeping pills. You just need to change your sheets. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. What makes Boll & Branch sheets different is that they're meticulously crafted from pure 100% organic cotton. And because we only sell online, we've cut out all of the expensive retail markups. Plus, if you go to bollandbranch.com today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets when you use promo code SOFT. bollandbranch.com, spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SOFT.
Israel's leader is getting the 3rd degree.
Israeli police interrogated Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for 3 hours on suspicion that he improperly accepted gifts from wealthy supporters. Police say he was questioned under caution, meaning anything he says could be used as evidence against him. Netanyahu denies the allegations. Nothing will come out of this case, he said, because there is nothing. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
It is a bestseller in Germany, Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler's notorious manifesto. 85,000 copies of the book sold since the latest edition was published a year ago. Despite its incendiary content, Hitler's book was never banned in Germany. It could be found online in secondhand bookshops and libraries. The government was able to use its copyright to keep new versions from being published until that expired a year ago. I'm Jim Taylor, CBS News.
Message and data rates may apply. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect a breezy and wet start to your Tuesday. Some areas of fog, especially into the mountains, along with some drizzle. Otherwise, a milder afternoon. Not as wet. High 65 to 67 tonight. Not as mild. Overnight lows near 45. Drier, breezy, and cooler Wednesday. Getting colder Thursday. Looking for your dream home? McBriar Realty can help. With decades of experience, they get big-time results with small-town values. Licensed for the tri-state area, check McBriarRealty.com for their complete listings. And I'm Storm Machine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Martin Truex Jr. is off the pace, and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops the right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off, too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Hot News Talk 1240. The voice of NASCAR. Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's David Tulis.
This is David Tulis. A little drizzly morning outside in Hickston. The drizzle seems to have stopped for the moment. We are asking ourselves a question, and that is, how is state law that has about 400 exemptions in it working to make government more open? There's a lobbying organization, well, it's not a lobbying organization, it's a nonprofit charity actually called the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government in Tennessee that it doesn't lobby, but it looks at and informs people such as Tona Monroe, a Blount County commissioner, about the statute that requires open government. However, the statute is being pockmarked or honeycombed, if you will, with exceptions to the open government precept. And Deborah Fisher of the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government says that they number 400. That's a lot of dark places in state government, which we hope over time will decrease in size and decline in influence. We can hope for good things, of course, in the future. We always have optimistic viewpoint, don't we, at the beginning of the year, you, my listener, and me. Deborah Fisher, tell my listener about this addition to the code last year that touches on requests for proposals and requests for qualifications that seems to have caused some trouble near us here in Chattanooga. What's it all about?
Right. Last year, an exemption was passed that essentially allowed purchasing agents or committees who were getting requests for proposals or qualifications for services to be kept confidential in all the memorandums surrounding them and all the responses to those until they announced their intent on who they wanted to award the contract to. And the reasoning is that there needs to be some confidentiality around that to preserve competitiveness. However, it can also snag county commissioners or city council members who are trying to evaluate who to choose or whether this decision is a good decision to vote on or not on awarding a particular contract.
Have controversies arisen already in Tennessee, Deborah Fisher?
Well, I did have a call this week from Blount County from a commissioner there, and I believe that there is an interest in expanding their jail. Their sheriff wants to expand the jail, but it's not. I don't think there's unanimous. It's not in total agreement on the county commissioners, but at the present time, as I understand it, they're considering design services to expand the jail. And one commissioner is trying to get information about that expansion and the proposals, and is unable to do so because of this exemption.
This is David Tulis, and we're talking with Deborah Fisher from the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government. And the website, just if you want to keep this logged somewhere, is tcog.info. That's TCOG.info. Well, Deborah, your organization is 14 years old, and you've been tracking this statute and the added number of exemptions. What's the main idea behind the open records request? And say something, if you would, please, to my listener about how to file an open records request for something he'd like to know in, let's say, county government or the police department here in the Chattanooga area.
Right. So the Tennessee Public Records Act allows and basically requires that all documents are essentially open for inspection to citizens of Tennessee unless they are specifically required to be confidential confidential by law. And those are the exemptions that we're talking about. You know, every year, more exemptions are added to the Tennessee Public Records Act that makes things not open for public inspection. But if someone wants to file a public records request and get information, they can do so. They can use a form. They can check with, they can just write a letter. They can make a phone call to the government entity and ask to see certain documents. And if the government entity has to either produce those documents or cite the statute that makes them confidential. So the Public Records Act is weighted towards citizens and access to information, but what sort of trips a lot of people up is just the process. They aren't sure how to get information. They may be met with not a friendly government worker. While there are many who are very good and helpful in our government, there are some that, may not be willing to help you. So it's important to know your rights as you go in and what you're looking for.
So that wouldn't hurt to check, say, the Tennessee Code Annotated online that's available from LexisNexis. It's free. One just has to simply click an I agree button, and then they can find the statute there. And the exemption or exceptions are very long, as I was saying. It prints out at about 20 pages or 25 pages or so between there at about a 10-point type. If you cut and paste the whole exception part of the law, it's a very long document, but it's all there. It's all in black and white. And if one wants to file an open records request, and thinks he might be facing some objection, he can look there carefully and read every word carefully for the part that applies to his type of request.
Right, and we also, our organization offers the helpline. It's one of the major programs that TCOG does, which is basically you can call our helpline and we'll try to answer your questions or help you with your records request. I mean, we do advocate for open government. So we're there to try to help you through the process, especially if you're hitting roadblocks.
Well, the statute that we're talking about is in Section 10 of the code that deals with local government records, and it says it's one long sentence. It runs about 6 lines, and Deborah, please bear with me. It says proposals and statements of qualifications received by a local government entity in response to a personal service, professional service, or consultant service request for proposals, or request for qualifications, solicitation, and related records, including but not limited to evaluations, names of evaluation, committee members, and all related memoranda or notes. And here's the verb: shall not be open for public inspection. Okay, shall not be open for public inspection. All that went before, until, and that's another key word, until the intent to award the contract to a particular respondent is announced. So the question, I guess, in our minds is, as we hear about this blockade in Blount County, what does the word until mean? And does that body there looking at a jail expansion have time, once the county commission has time to, once a decision is made by the purchasing department and the time left before a vote during a regular meeting to decide, is that enough time? And so we don't really know exactly what the situation is there, but your understanding is that elected officials should be able to have access to all those who propose, answer a request for proposal, or who answer a request for qualifications by a government body.
Yes, the bottom line is that any elected official, any governing body should have access to all the information that they need to make a decision, especially a decision on such a high price tag item that involves taxpayer money, which I believe this one is. So, the question is, how will that be interpreted? Will they be given information the day before the meeting? Will they be given information 5 days before the meeting, 2 weeks, what? So I think that's really the key. The law is a little vague on that, and it may need to be strengthened so that maybe there's a need for confidentiality, but there also may be a need for more time for the elected officials.
Well, I understand why people who who respond to a request for a proposal may not want their proposal made public, because making it public means that the party voting on it, the commissioner can find out what it is, but also the constituent of that commissioner, the voter or the citizen, can also find out. So what is to be kept private because it's a business secret, and what is accessible to the elected official and who's the proxy, the representative of the citizen who under this law has the authority to demand records and inspection of records and copies of records.
Right, and we often say, I mean, this was a famous quote from a Supreme Court justice: "Sunlight is the best disinfectant." And what you want to protect against are, decisions that are made, for in back rooms, and basically where county commissioners or city council people would not have information that they need to be able to make a good decision. So there does need to be sunlight in the process. There may be, at times when things need to be confidential. I think that's the reason for the law. This exemption already existed for state government entities, which is why it probably passed fairly easily for the local government entities this last session. But it needs to be looked at. Is it preventing us from getting, or especially our elected officials, from getting information in a timely manner so that they can make good decisions regarding taxpayer money? And if there's a problem there, it needs to be fixed, because I don't think anybody would agree that there should be information withheld from your elected representatives who are supposed to make who are supposed to make decisions. And we don't know what's going to happen in Blount County and really how this is playing out in other places.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Deborah Fisher from the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government. She's the executive director. This is a 14-year-old organization. It's a charity, a 501c3, and its job is to inform the public and to encourage elected officials to be open and to encourage people like you, my listener, to make use of your rights to find out what's happening in the state. The number, if you have a question, the number to call is 615-602-4080. That's 615-602-4080. And Deborah, your website is TCOG. That's TCOG.info. That's TCOG.info. Deborah, thanks very much for joining us.
You bet. Thank you for having me on, David.
Deborah Fisher is a woman who attends meetings that focus on the question of the open records law. There are 400 exceptions or exemptions in which you, the member of the public, or you, an elected official, cannot get access to information. Now, some which would be, for example, medical records or things covered under confidentiality agreements, maybe not. But there are many, many things which are protected now in this open records law from scrutiny, and her organization is concerned about that. And here we have one more that seems to be causing a problem in a county government just south of Knoxville, and Tona Monroe indicates that she is unable to find out about competitors for a request for qualifications, responses to that request put out by that county and that county's purchasing department. And so she's wondering about voting on the favored party. Can this commissioner know who the others are and find out about them? What is secret in the way of corporate submissions to government for a contract or for work? What is secret, and what does the public have a right to know? I would say that the public has a great right, and that you, my listeners, should try to exercise that. I just this morning, though I had no time to do it, I got a quick open records request off to the city of Dunlap, Tennessee, covering the Gaddy case. That story is about Thomas and Carol Gaddy, who are in a 2-year fight in Chancery Court in that town over a proposed inspection, quote unquote, which is really a search, an inspection or search of that couple's house, and which is being renovated. But there's a court order to prohibit renovations. There have already been arrests in this case. And Mrs. Gaddy, who's 69 years old, I guess she just turned 70 years old this past few days, has been jailed already for contempt of court. And this couple is it's a family. One son is in the area helping the parents this family is being told that jail is just ahead if it does not comply with an inspection order that will be the date of which will be given to Mrs. Gaddy, and then she has 15 days notice of this coming, and if she doesn't comply, she and her husband Thomas will be arrested and put into jail for contempt. Now, civil contempt is remarkable in that you, the defendant, if you will, have the key to your removal, and that is you comply. Once you comply, you are free. So compliance creates freedom. So if the parties are principled as they seem to be thus far, they could be in jail for an indefinite period of time in the wrong court. Now, this is an important story because what I've done is, as journalist, on your behalf, you're my listener's behalf, I have looked at this case in detail, and there seem to be some grievous breaches. My open records request will be on the billing that Stephen Greer and his law office have given to the city for this case to go now for nearly 2 years. And how much are the taxpayers in Dunlap paying for a case that is in the wrong court? Now, I say that because I simply read the city charter. The city charter makes it very clear that all cases arising under ordinance or disputes of ordinance or an enforcement of an ordinance against a party has to be done in city court. This whole disaster of a case has been pursued in chancery, and Mrs. Gaddy had an appeal denied for subject matter jurisdiction, a motion to have the case dismissed for subject matter jurisdiction. She tells me, and I'm not sure why, I don't remember having read that in my visit to the record in circuit court. The record's in circuit court because the judge handling it is a circuit judge. His office is in Jasper. That's Judge Thomas Graham, though it is being heard in chancery in Dunlap. So my request is, how many thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars have been paid to Stephen Greer, the attorney in his firm, to hound these people who have their rights in front of them. They're standing on their rights, and they're saying, no, we're not consenting to a search. You don't have probable cause. You have no evidence of a crime. And the initial, if you read Nooganomics.com, you'll know these problems in this case. The initial complaint, based purely on an external inspection of the house by the town inspector, says it's dilapidated, dangerous to the people who occupy it, and dangerous to the other people in Dunlap. I'm not sure how that is possible, that a house that's being a very firm house that's being remodeled is a danger to people who are off the lot. We have a grievous situation. Let's just say that it's grievous, and it is something that's happening right here in the Chattanooga area, right here. Okay, you think these cases that you read about sometimes on Facebook are in Seattle or Oregon or Utah, places like that, Arizona, but they're actually taking place here. And there is government action apart from probable cause, apart from a warrant. And there's been no sworn warrant against Thomas or Carol Gaddy for suspicion of a crime. So there's not probable cause. It's being done civilly, and it's being done in the wrong court. So I'm not sure where this will end, but the man in charge is Mayor Dwayne Land, and we see what he looks like at Nooganomics.com. Just type in the word Gaddy, Gaddy, in the search window, and these stories will come up. Coverage that you won't find anywhere else. And it's not just he said, she said kind of coverage. I read the record, okay? I look at the record, and I look at the law, because the law controls, and people can't do things and can't say things apart from, in this case, apart from statute or apart from the city charter. There's also a statute that I've brought a question about, which I brought up, and that is the Tennessee oppression statute. You cannot oppress someone knowingly and intentionally. And I don't know that these actors are how much they're aware that they're maybe breaching the rules on the oppression statute. That requires knowingly and intentionally depriving someone of a constitutional right or statutory privilege knowing that you don't have the authority to do that. So there seems to me, looking at this as a journalist from some distance, where there's a little bit of distance here, that there is the prospect, at least the prospect of an action that's not, it's not a civil action. The oppression statute is enforced by the state itself. But of course, we know the state does not tend to view its agents and its actors as criminally complicit. If anything, it will leave things go. We've seen that happen here in Chattanooga in 2 instances of police perjury. The district attorney, who represents the state, not justice, but the state, has let these 2 cases go and will not prosecute felony perjury charges in felony and misdemeanor perjury charges in 2 cases in Chattanooga that we have covered here at the David Tulis program, and which we've also explored in detail at Nooganomics.com, the website for the Man Who Matters. So we do thank you for your time, and I'm glad that you've been tuning into our station. Make sure you tell a friend about me, if you don't mind. I'm a man who believes in Ludwig von Mises, and even better than Ludwig von Mises, the Austrian free market economist, who's noted among some people who read and who are people of ideas. They all know Ludwig von Mises. And I appreciate you giving us a minute, and I've got some important announcements to make. And for you to hear, glad, I'm just glad for a minute of time.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. McCune Williams and Ashley PLLC offers a full array of legal services to meet the needs of businesses and individuals. Our attorneys represent diverse backgrounds, interests, and legal emphasis, but we share one common goal: providing the highest quality legal services to our clients through the combination of our talents, experience, and expertise. In each case, we strive to tailor those services to meet each client's specific circumstances: business law, business organization, civil litigation, commercial litigation, conservatorship and guardian law, bankruptcy law, just to name a few. With over 188 years of combined experience, McCune Williams Ashley PLLC is here to help you and your business succeed. MWALawfirm.com. That's MWALawfirm.com. Call 423-756-6400. That's 423-756-6400.
The NASCAR racer's ideal is quality and excellence. So does mine. Hi, David Tulis here. My pit crew is S&S Auto Repair. I've taken Toyotas and Hondas to S&S for 13 years, even though it's way out of my way. I like being treated fairly, like a neighbor. S&S specializes in Toyota and Lexus, Honda, Acura, Scion, Nissan, and Infiniti. Make an appointment today and get a free 4-inch combat knife as a gift. 855-3436. SSAutorepair.net. 855-3436. Is your career careening, maybe sagging, wheezing? Let me suggest a job with huge income potential. Dealing with people. Call Steve Brigida for a confidential interview. 855-8484. 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you make all year. Are you shovel ready to build a house, but you're not a builder? Are you shovel ready? Michael's Homes is ready to bulldoze its way to a solution for you. You have ideas on what you want in a house, but you're looking for someone to bring your ideas into a plan and turn your plan into a house. Michael's Homes, custom builder. Michael's Homes has lots available at a new subdivision. River Bay Estates, that's Harrison. Maybe River Watch in Saudi Daisy. Choices galore, lots, houses, beautiful homes all over Chattanooga. The Canyons, Hickson. Crystal Brook, Appleton. Drive in, take a look, consult with us. We build on your lot or ours. Homes-Chattanooga.com.
Call 423-413-9929. There's a reason why Alliance Physical Therapy is a choice of professionals and those who care about first-class, top-notch service and treatment. Because at Alliance Physical Therapy of Chattanooga, we don't just treat the symptoms in your body. Whether you're suffering from stiffness, muscle spasms, back pain, chronic headaches every day, stress of life demanding more and more of you, Alliance Physical Therapy takes a holistic approach to healing mind, body, and soul. Alliance Physical Therapy, with a location near you and 9 others in the Chattanooga area. If you don't have a doctor or if your physician's plan for chronic pain is not working, Alliance Physical Therapy will help. Visit Alliance Physical Therapy on the web at nopainpt.com. That's nopainpt.com. Alliance Physical Therapy.
We're at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Yes, ma'am. 2 orders of nachos with beef and beans and 2 beers. Chattanooga loves its Amigos restaurants, but the Amigos in Hickson has something extra. NCAA, the week's big game. How about a house wine? Really good. Big name beers. Just tell Maria what you want. And here at Amigos, margaritas are popular. And well, it's only $3 a day. If you come here on a game day Saturday, a Natty Light is only $2.25. Here at Amigos, just during NCAA, Natty Light, $2.25. Amigos Mexican Restaurant in Hickson. The happy hour is 3 to 9 today and every day. I'd say the atmosphere is festive. Look at that huge TV. It's like being amid the fans under a bright sun, but without all the heat. Stay cool. Quench your thirst. Amigos, between the Staples and Hobby Lobby. Take the table next to mine and enjoy the great NCAA game with friend or family here at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Okay, shh, it started.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. AM 1240 Nooga Radio, Russell Stroud reporting. A suspect has been named after shooting on Cummings Highway. Joshua Eaker, who's 28, now being looked after by police. Police say their investigation indicates that the shooting happened over a dispute between Eaker, the victim, who's not been named, and a girlfriend. 28-year-old Joshua Taylor Eaker is still being sought after by police. If you know where he is, call them. After a long manhunt, one suspect has turned himself in after a robbery in Fort Oglethorpe. The other suspect, Peyton Gunter, is still believed to be armed and dangerous, possibly driving a black Infiniti coupe. The search for Mr. Gunter continues. We've gotten word that a Chattanooga police officer who's accused of domestic assault has turned himself in to the Signal Mountain Police after a warrant was issued by them for domestic assault. Officer Charles Brock is now on administrative leave from the Chattanooga Police Department pending the investigation from Signal Mountain. Chattanooga Police noted the professionalism of the Signal Mountain PD. If it's going on in Tennessee Valley, it's going on in Nooga Radio.
Expect a breezy and wet start to your Tuesday. Some areas of fog, especially into the mountains, along with some drizzle. Otherwise, a milder afternoon. Not as wet. High 65 to 67 tonight. Not as mild overnight. Lows near 45. Drier, breezy, and cooler Wednesday. Getting colder Thursday. Looking for your dream home? McBride Realty can help. With decades of experience, they get big-time results with small-town values. Licensed for the tri-state area, check McBrideRealty.com for their complete listings. And I'm Smart Machine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
There is a remarkable case happening in Washington County, just northwest of Chattanooga. It's between Thomas and Carol Gaddy, homeowners, and Mayor Dwayne Land, who oversees the executive branch of the city of Dunlap. He is supposed to take to city court any dispute arising under an ordinance, and this couple is accused of violating Ordinance 88, and yet the case has dragged on now for nearly 2 years in Chancery Court, much to the distress of this woman, 69, and her husband, Thomas Gaddy. I think Thomas is 71, and they are fighting on their own, too poor to have an attorney, and yet she, with some smarts and some real research in law and health and her rights, has been defending herself and trying to stay out of jail, because jail is what Carol Gaddy faces. In just a few days, there'll be an inspection order date announced, and 15 days after she receives that notice, there will be an inspection of her house, which is said to be dilapidated and a danger to the public. And if she and her husband don't yield, they will go to jail for civil contempt. Carol, tell my listener what's happening. Have you filed anything in the past few days regarding this threat of jailing?
Well, actually, David, because the clerk's office has been closed, we had a motion to dismiss all orders in this case. And before Christmas, it was on a Friday, we went up there and they got the notice was on the door. They would not reopen until today, January 3rd. So we were not able to file that. And then after we file that, we will be filing immediately after that our judicial notice to the appellate court level.
And then today we will be filing that at the clerk's office, the appellate court level in Nashville. Well, as soon as we finish here in Dunlap, we're headed in that direction. But, you know, David, what I would like to say here is all the people of Sequatchie County, including hundreds that had been defrauded of property taxes for 44 years, because the city of Dunlap did not, we revealed through our research here in our case that the city of Dunlap did not complete a legal annexation in August of 72, but yet they had the information from the county tax files and began taxing all these people. And everybody, as you know, in Sequatchie County voted about 80% for Donald Trump. And we're all sick and tired of this local Clintonian socialistic regime that's running this town. And this county, we have the hugest tax increase because the state budget, when they audited the county budget, that it was short by $800,000. We're so tired of our money being stolen, and we don't know where it's going. We don't know what the guys are doing with it. But I would also like to say this entire case is a fraud. It is a lie. We've got permits, we've got final inspections by the Sequatchie County Electric Co-op that passed our electrical system, the entire electrical system, meter box and everything. It's no older than from 1999, and we have affidavits in our court case that we have submitted. Plus, in 1997, when we purchased this property, this house and this acre, I listened to the very nice man, don't remember his name, older fella. He was the building inspector for the city of Dunlap. And we have followed his instructions. He didn't write them out on a piece of paper. I wish I had something like that. He stood out here in front of my home and told us exactly what we needed to do. He said it didn't matter how many permits we had to pay to the Sequatchie Valley Co-op, that, you know, whatever they said, you have to do. He handed me the instruction of a FEMA map, although the city of Dunlap was not under FEMA plan at that time. He said, because your property is next to the creek, you've also got to comply with FEMA. And I said, yes, sir. And so he said, you have to find those.
Well, Carol, let's if I could rise above the details for a second. Carol Getty, let me just rise above the details. We don't have really time to talk particulars like that. But what
the case is a fraud, and the city attorney, Stephen Greer, and the mayor is just outrageously lying. My home is brand new. We have spent 18 years remodeling this home from the inside out. All new floors, all new systems, electrical water, heat and air. I mean, my home is beautiful inside. It is not a falling down shambles like this city attorney keeps telling everybody that talks to him that needs to be torn down. And it's certainly, all fenced off in its neat little acre, is not a danger to the public. So the whole case is a fraud and a lie. And we believe it took a while to find out what the mayor's hidden agenda was. But our home is just post-Civil War, which means it is grandfathered. It predates the corporation of this municipal Dunlap by many years and all of their ordinances. And as long as the house is grandfathered, they can't do anything except saying, okay, we want your house torn down.
Let me ask you about the court. Let me ask you, Carol Getty, let me interrupt you. Question.
Our land here by the creek through eminent domain.
Carol, let me ask a question here about the venue. This case that was prosecuted in Chancery Court has been in there nearly 2 years, but the city charter from the legislature, the law from the legislature to the town fathers, it was and is that all actions arising under ordinance have to be pursued in city court. What has happened to that? Have you objected to that problem of venue?
Yes, absolutely. We even have a filing that back in 2015, I can't remember the exact date of that. It was right after we filed for giving the show call why they wanted to enter our private home and inspect. But we filed where we proved with their city charter that everyone in authority in the city, including the city attorney, had violated Ordinance 88.
And did you point out that the filing? Did you point out to the city that it can't choose where it wants to file a case? It has to be in city court. Did you point that out? It cannot be filed anywhere but in city court.
that, we had that well, actually, I pulled that out recently. In March of 2016, we notified the court, the Chancery Court, and Chancellor Stewart went through the court filings that there's a jurisdictional problem on this case. And he and City Attorney Greer went right on playing their little court game and putting on their little fiction, and they ignored the jurisdictional issue.
Well, that can't be. That's going to be that puts that. It's a dead case right there. And a court without there are many cases in Tennessee cases, Carol Gady, that point out a court without a subject matter jurisdiction cannot say anything. And it's not what it says. It's not just voidable, but void, ab initio, void from the beginning. So that point has to be brought to the attention of the Court of Appeals then.
Well, that's what we're doing. That's the reason we're going up to the Tennessee Appeal to file the appeal today. And I forgot what I was going to say there, David. I'd like to mention that you got to have an honest judge that will actually say, okay, I don't have jurisdiction here, so that means any orders I write are void. But these judges, I'd like to mention the current order, and we actually do not have a staff file copy of it yet. We're going to get it this morning when we get to the clerk's office. The Judge Thomas W. Graham, who is the presiding judge of the 12th Judicial District, picked up our case after Chancellor Stewart recused himself and held on to it for 2 months. Wouldn't return his office, his secretary, wouldn't return our phone calls. We were trying to docket our motion for summary judgment. And Attorney Greer was out of time. All of his response time was gone because he failed to respond. And when we were scheduled November the 10th to have it heard, Greer was not there. And the judge said, even though 2 other attorneys, Ms. Swafford, his partner, law partner, was in there, but the judge, when I said we weren't available to have it set off to a later date, that there were already accumulating fines at $1,500 a month stacked against us from the previous judge's order. And he said he didn't like my attitude. And I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. And
let me ask you another question. Carol, let me ask you another question.
An American citizen taxpayer doesn't have any right to be in the court.
Let me ask you another question. Let me change the subject. Carol Gady, this is David Tulis. We're talking with Carol Gady of Dunlap, who's involved in a lengthy court battle to keep inspections off of her house, and a case being filed by the city in the wrong court that has no subject matter jurisdiction. Well, let me ask you this question about the spiritual nature of this. You're a Christian. Tell my listener in a nutshell if God has prospered you in your distress and oppression, because He does promise to do that to His children.
Oh yes, definitely, David. I was just going to say, to finish the previous statement, that November 10th court day was the first time I went to jail. But Mr. Greer has been filing contempt orders wanting me to go to jail. In other words, his attitude is to be a bully. Well, when we put this woman in jail, she's going to yield her rights. And
well, all right, go ahead. Answer my question, Carol.
Not, but our stand is under God because in 1997, he spoke 4 words when I passed in this house. He said, "That's mine, redeem it." Well, the Lord's never revealed to us why He pointed out this property and said, "Redeem it." But I knew it was the Lord's word, so we did. We found the owner, bought it, and started the redeeming of the property. And now that we get 90%, like I mentioned earlier, this home is new inside out. We live here, and we call the land next to the creek the Lord's garden. But every step of the way through this lawsuit, we have gotten instruction through the Lord. There are many people who are concerned about this because it does involve private property rights and a governmental tyranny that is trying to usurp authority over those rights. But the Lord has certainly been with us, and many people are praying about this situation because there are other people that knows the same thing could happen to them. But when you get out of control government and corruption in high levels of government, like you have here in the Sequatchie Valley, this could happen, the same thing we're going through. But if we don't continue to stand and succeed under God, just imagine, David, as hard as it's been for us, and it's really been tough. And I've been in jail twice now. And last time my husband went to jail. So they keep using the court orders and jailing us to make us yield our private property rights over to the city. And the court order we have now that's upon us from December the 8th states that the judge is going to put, we are our own defense, like you said. We are defending the pro se, and we're defending our own case. But yet the judge has written an order and signed it that in, I guess, 15 days from now, that he's going to lock me and my husband up indefinitely until we yield, until we see things their way, to use the words of the city attorney's exact words.
Carol, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Carol. I really appreciate your talking with us. This is David Tulis. We've been talking with Carol Gaddy and hearing about her case, and I bring her to your attention because there are Christian people, you, my listener, know, who understand the problem that a Christian faces. She and her husband are practicing believers, as you heard her say. And there is a use in distress. There's a use in oppression. There's a use in injury, a use that God makes to Christian people in the spectacle of misery. And think in the scripture, there were many examples of those who were required to suffer because they loved God. Job, for example, St. Paul was smitten with blindness. God would not hear his plea to remove that. I have in my hand a terrific little volume by a Puritan writer. It's called All Things for Good. The original title is The Divine Cordial. A cordial is a medicine. And on the picture of this paperback book from Banner of Truth Trust, I have an Alistair Begg edition. There's a picture of a spoon and a bottle pouring a reddish liquid into it. Obviously, a cordial, something maybe not very nice to take, maybe not very tasty, but nonetheless good for the sick. And in this book, there are many encouraging and uplifting things that touch on this question about affliction. Afflictions work for good as they are the means of making the heart more upright. And that's quoting Hosea. In prosperity, the heart is apt to be divided, Christians believe. The heart cleaves partly to God and partly to the world. Thomas Watson says, it is like a needle between two lodestones. God draws and the world draws. Now God takes away the world that the heart may cleave more to him in sincerity. Correction is a setting the heart right and straight, as we sometimes hold a crooked rod over a fire to straighten it. So God holds over us the fire of affliction to make us more straight and upright. Oh, how good it is when sin, he says, has bent the soul awry from God, that affliction should straighten it again. Afflictions work for good as they conform us to Christ. God's rod is a pencil to draw Christ's image more lively upon us. It is good that there should be symmetry and proportion between the head and the members. Would we be parts of Christ's mystical body and not be like him? His life, as Calvin says, was a series of sufferings, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. Quoting Isaiah chapter 53, he wept and bled. Was his head crowned with thorns? And do we think to be crowned with roses? He asked, is it good to be like Christ? And it is good to be like Christ, though it be by sufferings. Christ drank the bitter cup. It made him sweat drops of blood to think of it. And though it be true, he drank the poison of the cup, which is to say the wrath of God, yet there is some wormwood in the cup left, which the saints must drink. Only here is the difference between Christ's sufferings and ours. His were satisfactory, ours are only castigatory. In other words, they are part of being our being sinners, and they're part of our castigation. Afflictions work for good to the godly as they are destructive to sin. Sin is the mother, affliction is the daughter. The daughter helps to destroy the mother that breeds the worm. And affliction is like the worm that eats the tree. There is much corruption. In the best heart, affliction does by degrees work it out as the fire works out the dross from the gold. This is all the fruit to take away his sin. That's in Isaiah chapter 27. What if we have more of the rough file? Well, if we have less rust. Afflictions carry away nothing but the dross of sin. If a physician should say to a patient, your body is distempered and full of bad humors, which must be cleared out, or you will die. But I will prescribe physic medicine, which, though it may make you sick, yet it will carry away the dregs of your disease and save your life. Would not this be for the good of the patient? Afflictions are the medicine which God uses to carry off our spiritual diseases. They cure the tympany of pride. A tympany is a swelling, right? A swelling, a tumor. A tympany of pride, the fever of lust, the dropsy of covetousness. Do they not then work for good? Afflictions, he says, work for good, as they're the means of loosening our hearts from the world. When you dig away the earth from the root of the tree, it is to loosen the tree from the earth. So God digs away our earthly comforts, to loosen our hearts from the earth. A thorn grows up with every flower. God would have the world hang as a loose tooth, which being twitched away does not much trouble us. Is it not good to be weaned? The oldest saints need it. Why does the Lord break the conduit pipe? But that we may go to him, in whom are fresh springs, quoting Psalms 87, verse 7. Afflictions work for good, he says, as they make way for comfort. And there's a reference here to the valley of Achor. And the valley of Achor is a door of hope from the prophet Isaiah. Achor signifies trouble. God sweetens outward pain with inward peace. Your sorrow shall be turned into joy. That's John chapter 16. Here is the water turned into wine. After a bitter pill, God gives sugar. Paul had his prison songs. God's rod has honey at the end of it. The saints in affliction have had such sweet raptures of joy that they thought themselves in the borders of the heavenly Canaan. The magnet of mercy does not draw us so near to God as the cords of affliction. So in other words, a person who's a professing Christian is drawn by mercy, but more so, he suggests, this Puritan author whose book came out in the 1660s, more so the cords of affliction. When God brings a deluge of affliction upon us, then we fly to the ark of Christ, he says. Thus, affliction makes us happy in bringing us nearer to God. Faith can make use of the waters of affliction to swim faster to Christ. You see how people who have some connection with the Creator, who has made everything, made the human being and human society, if they have a connection with Him, they can make use of things which in themselves are evil. There may be evil against this couple in Dunlap, and it may be a true wrong, a genuine and constitutional wrong, and oppression. It may be, but what the Christian has in his benefit is that it's turned to good. That's by the doctrine of the prophets of God. It's turned for good to the one who loves Jesus. And that's, you might say, man, that's a lot of religion. Well, it is, and if you have uncertainty about it, there is a venue in which you can find out more about who has subject matter jurisdiction over you. And the Christian church would say, and that would be the Lord Jesus as revealed in Scripture. This is David Tulis.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Choose Exit Realty Scenic City. Need to sell your house? Want to buy another house? Choose Exit Realty Scenic City. Our goals are simple. If you're selling, we get you the best price possible in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Our agents are professional, competent, and courteous. We stay in touch every step of the way. If you're buying, we make sure you get all the information necessary to choose the right house in the right location at the best price. Exit Realty is one of the fastest growing real estate companies in North America. Our agents have extensive training, state-of-the-art technology, and full support that allows us to do the best job possible for you. If you're in the market to buy or sell, call us today. 423-551-EXIT. That's 423-551-3948. If you're an agent or considering a career in real estate, call us today. See what Exit Realty can do for you. No desk fees, residual income, technology to the max, and people first. Call us today, 551-EXIT. That's 551-3948. We're located at 7610 Hamilton Park Drive, just off the Bonnie Oaks exit.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis has the cash when you sell gold, silver, diamonds, rings, and jewelry. Sell Rick your precious metals today and lock in your price. Hey, Rick Davis will trade your cash for shiny, brilliant, and heavy gold. Gold cheaper now by $100 an ounce. Join the Rick Davis Silver Bonanza too. Price is so low, the Lone Ranger is bound to gallop in, Kimosabe.
Hey, silver, away!